welcome back to another reading. Today I'm back with another Freen Becky reading. Today I'm going to be doing a current energy check about the two of them, and also at the end of the reading I am going to be adding a question that the person this reading requested. Okay guys, so let's get started into Freen and Becky's current energies. Okay, so first I'm going to get started with Freen. Let's see, what is Freen's current energy towards Becky? What is Freen's current energy towards Becky right now? What is Freen's current energy towards Becky? Okay guys, so when it comes to Freen's current energy towards Becky right now, with the Justice, I do see that there is a good balance between Freen and Becky right now. I do feel like there is a good balance. Freen especially does feel like things are, looking very great between her and Becky right now. Things are balanced. Things are almost like the scale, and everything like seems so balanced right now. And so I feel like when it comes to her and Becky's bond, she does see that there is a balance. There is completion. There is a sense of almost peacefulness right now that is going on between her and Becky. Okay, so she does view their bond as, good right now. Okay, and with the High Priestess though, I do see that there is some certain questions that go on her head sometimes when it comes to things that involve the two of them. Okay, and I'm also feeling this sense of something that Freen and Becky are working on, that Reed is sort of thinking a bit deeply about. Okay, so with Three of Pentacles, I do see that they are both working on something, maybe a current project or something that they're currently filming or currently doing. I see them working together, and I do see Freen feeling a bit lost regarding this project. It might be Freen, trying to really get into character, or maybe she does want to do this character really well, so I feel like she's trying to grow it, or she's trying to maybe learn new things or try new things, for this character to grow. Like, I feel like she wants to really do this character really well and really perfectly. And so I feel like she's really giving a lot into this character. And so I feel like maybe at the beginning, or maybe even at times right now, there are some certain things that she wants to do, to make the character be as good, and she feels that I'm not maybe sure how to do that, or how to, do something specific when it comes to this character. So there's something that she's feeling a little bit lost about, but I feel like she's really trying to grow her best to perform. And I feel like she's really thinking very thoroughly when it comes to maybe the project that they're doing or the character that she's working on. Okay, and I feel like she also does have a lot of fiery energy right now. Like, she's ready to learn, she's ready to do, and she's ready to do this project. Okay, so I feel like she's definitely putting a lot of work in, and I feel like when it comes to her and Becky as well, I feel like definitely they're trying to work things together. But I feel like when it comes to this character, maybe Freen does feel like, she has to figure this out. Okay, let's see any more information about Freen and Becky. I feel like that was more like of a Freen energy. I feel like that is taking over her energy right now. So let's see. Anything else about Freen's current energy towards Becky right now? What is Freen's current energy towards Becky? Anything else? Anything else? Yeah, she's feeling some sort of fiery energy right now. Yeah, guys, so like I said, I feel like Freen is feeling some sort of fiery energy, some sort of passionate energy, and I feel like she is maybe coming off that way or trying to be that way, because I feel like she's sort of building strength, because inside of her there is some certain battles or some certain things going on that I do see here with the Tower and with the Five of Wands. Like, I do feel like there's something going on, either if it's maybe related to this character that she's trying to you know, build something or do well in that character, or maybe in her life there are certain things that are going on that are conflicting her, and she's sort of trying to build strength and come off as a certain way, or, you know, be in a certain more fiery energy, and, you know, to sort of cover up the battle that is going inside of her. Like, I feel like not, it doesn't necessarily have to be like certain fights or battle with certain people. I feel like inside of her, maybe there are certain things that she does want to make better. And when it comes to her bond with Freen Becky, again, I do feel like it's going pretty well. And I feel like, in fact, having Becky by her side is making her deal with things differently. Okay, I do feel like having Becky by her side when she's going through certain things does make her feel that she's able to change her mood or be happy. Becky is like almost like the sunshine for her. And so, you know, she can be feeling down, and then Becky would change her mood totally, okay? And I feel like even when Becky's around her, she is able to get over, you know, get over being sad or being down quickly. Like, I feel like quickly she's able to change that around being Becky. Like, she would open up to Becky like, yeah, I'm not feeling the best today. And then Becky, you know, would try to cheer her up and do something for her or give her something that would make her feel happy. I feel like something about Becky as well is that she does bring Freen's inner child out as well, okay? I feel like Becky does help Freen, you know, feel more childish and lively and happy, and that's why Freen, you know, appreciates having Becky a lot in her life, okay? But I'm picking something that Freen is like thinking about and contemplating about. It's like almost like a battle between, you know, something that, should I do this, or is it best to go this path, or should I do this a different way, okay? So I do feel like there's some things that she's sort of contemplating about, okay? But I do feel like definitely Becky's there by her side, and I feel like when it comes to their bond, things are looking well right now. In fact, you know, she feels like having Becky by her side is making things easier for her, like when she's dealing with things or when she's trying to get into character, and all of that stuff, okay? So I hope that made sense. Now when it comes to Becky, let's see, what is Becky's current energy towards Freen? What is Becky's current energy towards Freen right now? What is Becky's current energy towards Freen? Okay, guys, so when it comes to Becky, I do feel like she's also trying to live happily and passionately. Like, I feel like she is trying to be cheerful. She's trying to be happy. There is some things that do bother Becky. And I feel like a lot of times she tries to be practical. She tries to get over maybe her emotions and not let her emotions take over. And so she tries to be practical. She tries sometimes to be hard on herself and tell herself to, you know, sort of maybe stop at a certain point, because sometimes she feels like with things in her life or with her emotions, she can get carried away. And so I feel like sometimes she tries to stop herself and be practical and be a bit more strict on herself. And so when she goes into that path, she starts not living in the moment, and she starts sort of making distance and blocking herself out from people around her that love her and, you know, are there for her. And so I feel like sometimes, you know, she would go into that phase, and then, you know, she would maybe even make a distance between her and Freen, and then Freen would try to, you know, be there for her and then make her know that it's okay to open up. Because I feel like Becky a lot of times goes through things and keeps things to herself, and then sometimes, you know, she would distance herself from people, or, you know, she would go into this bubble and be hard on herself. And so I feel like when it comes to her and Freen, you know, she knows that Freen is there for her. It's not like she doesn't believe in Freen or she cannot open up to Freen. No, she knows that she can do that, but sometimes, you know, she just goes into that phase, okay? And so I feel like she was in that phase, and I feel like right now she is trying to slowly come out of that phase of being hard on herself to being more energetic and playful and with Freen, you know, because I feel like there's a lot of things that she does manifest. She does want a lot of things to develop, even maybe when it comes to their bond. and she definitely wants growth, okay? She wants things to develop and develop and develop. And so sometimes she doesn't see that things go in the pace that maybe she would want. When it comes to Freen, you know, she does feel like Freen is her comfort person, and she knows that Freen is always there for her, and, you know, she knows that Freen is able to sense when Becky's not feeling the best, okay? And so I feel like right now she's letting herself open up. She's letting herself be around Freen. And sometimes she does go into that bubble, but I feel like right now she's trying to let herself more open, okay? Let's see. Anything else regarding Becky towards Freen? Anything else regarding Becky towards Freen? Anything else regarding Becky towards Freen? Again with the Ten of Cups. Yeah, guys, again, I'm picking that sort of energy that sometimes Becky goes back and forth. You know, there is certain emotions that she feels when it comes to her and Freen, and she really values Freen. She views Freen as like this treasure for her, and so I feel like there's a lot of times she can get a bit possessive, you know, when it comes to her and Freen's bond, and sometimes she can feel a little bit, you know, scared of losing Freen or someone taking Freen instead of her, okay? And so there's this certain fear or a sense of her feeling dependent on Freen. I feel like they both are dependent on each other in their own ways, and so I feel like she does feel like Freen is almost like her treasure, and so she does have fears of maybe what if, you know, our bond fades away, or what if Freen gets too close to a certain someone and then, you know, our bond is not as close as it is now. So I feel like she does have those fears, and she knows that it's probably best to live in the moment, but I feel like sometimes she cannot help it, okay? I feel like that she also sometimes gets jealous maybe of certain people that Freen hangs out, or when Freen is around certain people, okay? So yeah, I do feel like sometimes that takes over and makes her have like some certain negative thoughts, and then she starts to close off, okay? But I feel like right now things are looking a bit better. I feel like maybe that was the energy 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago, but I feel like right now she's starting to, you know, feel a little bit better, okay? And I feel like that has to do with her and Freen maybe spending more time together now, or being around each other, because I'm seeing them hand in hand, and I do see there is like a good new start for them, where they're gonna be more around each other, or, you know, working together hand in hand. And so maybe that is gonna make Becky feel more secure, because I feel like she's already feeling more secure now. But yeah, I feel like sometimes like certain thoughts take over, and so that sort of affects, you know, how she interacts and all of that, okay? Alright, so I'm gonna check a question right now that the person that just this reading requested. So the question is, when it comes to their sexuality, do they really not care if they end up dating with the same sex? And will they be a little shy / ashamed about it? Okay, so let's see. When it comes to Freen and Becky's sexuality, do they really not care if they end up dating the same sex? Let's see. Okay. So you guys, when it comes to Freen and Becky, I do feel like one of them at the beginning maybe did have sort of a change of opinion when it comes to this topic, okay? I do feel like one of them, you know, sort of presents herself as confident, as grounded, and, you know, I feel like when it comes to sexuality, she does see it as like a part of who she is without needing to label it. So I feel like one of them is like that, okay? But I feel like at times she does have moments of shyness or hesitation, and I feel like there was like a change of her opinion on it, you know, over the years, okay? I feel like definitely like on the outside, she does not have any problem, you know, with dating the same person as her gender. But I feel like sometimes, like when she thinks deeply about it, or when she thinks about it, you know, actually happening with the person that she loves and cares about, I feel like sometimes she does get a bit shy or hesitant, or has like this realization that, wow, it actually happened, okay? She always thought that love is love, but I feel like she never really thought that it might happen to her. I feel like she definitely always had the same opinion about love and about being with the person that you love, no matter the gender. But I feel like when it started happening to her, she was like a bit hesitant or a bit shy, that okay, like a certain realization came over her, okay? But I feel like right now, I don't feel like she does have a problem with it, but there might be a little bit of shyness, but not that she's ashamed of it, but it's like this realization that this happened to me, and you know, of actually showing it to the world, okay? But it's not like she's ashamed of it or she's feeling bad about it, but the opposite, okay? And then I feel like there's another one of them that definitely does not care about this topic. Like she feels that, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, whether it's the same gender or not. I feel like she's really open about that topic, and she's ready to embrace it openly, you know, to the world. I feel like the other one between them does have no problem with that, okay? But I feel like sometimes, you know, she can at the beginning, you know, when it comes to experiencing the stuff, I feel like sometimes she did have a moment of doubt that, am I really feeling this right now? And so she started doubting herself a bit, or she was a bit surprised, but then she started to process those feelings quickly, and then, you know, she was happy about what she was feeling, okay? So I feel like one of them like totally has no problem with it. I feel like they both have no problem with it actually, okay? But I feel like just one of them is like starting to get more open to it, and one of them got used to it over time, and one of them has already been open to it, but at the beginning when they started experiencing it, they were a little bit, you know, doubting themselves if that was what they were actually feeling, okay? But yeah, that's the answer to that question. I hope that made sense. Now I'm gonna get into the hidden truths, okay? So let's see. First, I'm gonna start off with Freen. What is Freen's hidden truth towards Becky? Okay. What is Freen's hidden truth towards Becky? Okay. And I'm gonna get for Becky, and then I'm gonna explain these cards. What about Becky? What is Becky's current hidden truth for Freen? Okay. What are Becky's hidden truths towards her? Okay. One more for Freen. One more for Becky towards Freen. Okay, that's way too much. Okay, one more hidden truth for Becky towards Freen. What is Becky's hidden truth towards Freen? Okay, I'm just gonna take that one. Alright, you guys, so when it comes to Freen, this is interesting that the first card I got is I am becoming a better person, because if you guys remember the beginning of this reading, I was telling you guys I feel like Freen does want to improve of herself. I feel like there are things that maybe she does want to change. There are things that she's going back and forth about when it comes to maybe a character that she's doing, or something else. I feel like, you know, she's contemplating going back and forth that, should I do this? Should I do that? So I feel like there's a lot of times where, you know, she's really trying to be the best version of herself, you know, when it comes to her bond with Becky, and also her and her life. You know, she wants to put her effort into, you know, doing the best thing, okay? And I feel like right now she is, you know, trying her best to do things you know, really good when it comes to her character, when it comes to her bond with Becky. She does want to give back to Becky, because she feels like Becky is really there for her, and, you know, she wants to be there for her as well, you know, she feels as well, okay? And it was my fault, but I blamed you. Okay, so I feel like maybe there was this situation where Becky or both of them would get into this small argument, and I feel like sometimes Freen would know that he is in the wrong. Like, it's not really a serious argument, but Freen would then be the one to first give it. Like, for example, if they, you know, had discussion about which place they should go. Like, it's like, I feel like they have like these really small arguments. Maybe in that argument, it would be like Becky is the one to be blamed, or Becky is the one that is not maybe giving in, okay? And I feel like out of the two of them, Freen would be the one that would be say, I'm sorry, it's my fault and I blamed you, but it's actually my fault, and say sorry, okay? Because I feel like I also felt intuitively about the two of them that, you know, maybe, for example, if they both were waiting for messages from each other, or they haven't seen each other in a while, you know, Becky would be waiting for Freen and Freen would be waiting for Becky, but then Freen would be wanting Becky to message first, but sometimes she would be the one to message first and, you know, give in first, or, you know, be the first one to take a step. So I feel like in maybe small arguments or stuff like that, you know, Freen would be the one to say that it was my fault, or, you know, I'm sorry about that, okay? But I don't feel like it was like a really serious argument, okay? And then here, I'm so attached to you. It's so interesting because in the beginning of this reading, I was telling you guys how Freen felt that Becky really is a person that changes her mood, and, you know, she really is able to make Freen feel better, okay? And so Freen does feel like she has gotten attached to Becky. She has gotten used to Becky being around her. And so, like I mentioned, I feel like they both, in a sense, are codependent of each other in their own ways, okay? And for Becky, we will be together again. Like I mentioned, you guys, sometimes she does have fears of, you know, maybe their bond, you know, fading away someday, or maybe Freen getting closer to other people, or, you know, building new friendships that are really close. I feel like sometimes she does have those fears, or maybe that bond being taken away from her. And so I feel like sometimes she does want to ask Freen that, you know, no matter what happens, we will be together again, right? Like, we will have this bond forever. And I feel like they did have discussions that, you know, this bond that they share is forever. But I feel like sometimes Becky has fears, you know, because she has really gotten used to Freen being in her life, and like I mentioned, she does view Freen as her treasure, and so she's really scared of that treasure being taken away, or suddenly that treasure not being in her life. And so, you know, I feel like a lot of times she does tell herself, and she wants to ask Freen that we will be together, like, for a long while, right? Like, even if maybe we don't work together, or that, like, this bond will stay, right? Okay. And I feel like I said, she's trying to also, you know, learn from things, okay? Like I said, sometimes she tries to be practical, and that sort of takes her to another hole, or takes her to be a bit distant from the people around her. So I feel like she's learning these days, and, you know, I feel like even when Becky goes into situations where she does feel bad, or, you know, she doesn't feel her best, she does take those lessons, and I feel like she does want to tell Freen that you're right, something that you told me was right, that, you know, even if something is difficult, you'll come out of it and you'll just learn from that experience. I feel like that's something that Freen taught her. And sometimes I stay awake thinking about you. Yeah, so I feel like Becky sometimes stays late at night, you know, thinking about Freen probably, or, you know, thinking about things in her head about their bond. Like I said, I feel like sometimes Becky does think about the future, or worry a bit. And so I feel like sometimes she can be a bit overthinking about, what if that happens, what if that. So I feel like, you know, she does have fears. And I feel like sometimes, you know, she would go into that phase where she starts overthinking and thinking about the what ifs and all of that. And so sometimes I feel like she can stay thinking and worrying about things, and, you know, thinking about Freen mostly, okay? Last thing, I'm gonna just get a few more oracles about their bond. Anything else about Freen and Becky's bond? Anything else about Freen and Becky's bond that we can know? Loyal heart, between worlds, and truth to be told. Okay, you guys, so with Loyal Heart, I feel like that represents their bond a lot. I feel like they both do know that they both are really loyal to each other. And like I said, I feel like they both feel really comfortable by each other. Freen feels really comfortable about Becky, and Becky feels really comfortable about her, okay? And so I feel like they both feel that if they can trust someone to tell their secrets and be around, that they both are loyal for each other, and they really trust each other a lot, you know. But I feel like sometimes when it comes to things that they feel about each other, or things that they are scared to open up, that's when they keep things, you know, a bit quiet. But I feel like anything else regarding their families or their private life and all that, they both know a lot of things, okay? And here between worlds, like I said, I feel like in their own ways, they both are going back and forth when it comes to something. Becky, you know, about, you know, living in the present and living in the past, and, you know, stepping into, you know, being in that present side and being happy and playful, but also thinking about maybe the what ifs if things turn bad. And so she's sort of in between worlds. And I also feel like Freen is a little bit like that right now, but not the same way. Like, I feel like she's sort of contemplating, you know, if she should do something and if she should do something else. And I feel like also maybe something related to a certain project that she's trying to do her best in, but she's not sure exactly how. And here with Truth to be told, I feel like they both have some things that they do want to share with each other. And so this card is saying that the truth needs to be told, and they do feel like inside of them that they should be open about those certain things, okay? And I feel like those things are related to their bond. And so I feel like they both do sort of want to be an open book, and I feel like one of them is contemplating about opening things up, but they're not sure how to, okay? But yeah, I do feel like one of them does want to tell the other person a certain truth over here, okay? But yeah, you guys, that's what I got for Free and Becky. I really hope you guys enjoyed this reading about the two of them, and thank you for the person that purchased this reading. If you guys have any questions about Free and Becky or any other celebrities, I do have a membership where you guys can join and ask questions in the monthly Q&A. And if you guys have any other celebrity readings that you would like to see, or any reading recommendations, feel free to let me down below in the comments below. But other than that, thank you guys so much, and hope I see you guys next time. Bye!